Hi everyone, my name is Boris. I'm a first year PA student. I actually just finished my first semester of PA school, so now I'm on Christmas break. I got 2 weeks with nothing to do. So I thought I'd make this video to try to help some of you out who might be applying to PA school. So I recently had a conversation with a friend who just decided to apply to PA school. So she was asking if I had any advice. So I thought I'd share that advice with all of you as well, hoping to help somebody out who might be applying right now. So the first thing I asked was, where do you ideally want to go to PA school and how far from home are you willing to go? So some people who are planning to go to PA school really want to live at home to save money, to kind of help, to have their family help them with resources and things like that. Some people might not want to go more than 100 miles or 200 miles from family. That's a very important factor for a lot of people. I know it was for me. So the very first thing that you want to do in order to kind of limit the number of schools you're applying to and to focus on the schools that you really want to apply to is determine how far from home you're willing to go and then use that radius to search for schools to apply to. The next thing is, when would you be willing to start? When do you ideally want to start? And when do you think you'll be ready to start? So PA school deadlines for applications are all over the place, and so are the start dates. Some PA schools start in summer, mine started in the fall, some even start in the winter, like in January. So you really want to look and see when you would personally be ready to start and when you'd want to start, and then uh, search for schools on CASPA and various other resources I know I've shared in previous videos to see which schools start when you want to start ideally. Another thing, kind of going off of that as well, is, have you taken the GRE? And if not, how soon would you be ready to take the GRE? So, not all PA schools require the GRE, but once you kind of have your list of schools that are close enough to you and start when you want them to start, you need to narrow them down by whether they require the GRE or not. So, if you've taken the GRE, you've done well, that's really good. You just opened up a lot more possibilities. If you haven't, and you maybe don't want to spend the next 3 months studying for the GRE, you want to apply sooner, or you have other things to do, you want to get more hours, you just don't want to spend that time and money getting ready for the GRE, then that could be a big factor because I know a lot of schools do not require it. The school that I'm going to right now did not require the GRE. They went completely off of hours and GPA. And so, again, off of that, what is your GPA? What is your science GPA? And is that competitive for the schools you're looking at? So, of course, I didn't ask my friend directly what her GPA was. That's kind of rude. Um, but you want to look at your GPA and see if you're competitive for the schools you're looking at. So just because a school says, the minimum to apply is a 3.0, that's usually not accurate. If you look at the national statistics, I think the average accepted student to PA schools in this country was like 3.3 or 3.5. I wasn't sure what it was, but I know it's higher than 3.0. So if you have a 3.0, unless you have like 10,000 hours or something, I'm sorry to say you're not a very competitive applicant. But on that again, if you have your narrow list of schools that you're looking at, what you can do is call the graduate admissions office and see just how competitive you actually are with your GPA. I know I did that. So the first time I applied to the school that I'm going to right now, I did not get in. My application actually didn't even get looked at because I didn't meet the minimum threshold of GPAs that they were cutting off that year. So even though the website said 3.0, I had a 3.0, my application wasn't looked at because that particular year they happened to cut it off at 3.3 because they had enough applications that were that high. So that's definitely something to look at. What is your GPA? What was the GPAs of the average GPAs of the previously accepted class at the school you're going to? And based off that, you can see how competitive you might be. And then last but not least, I asked, are you working a hands-on medical job, like a medical assistant, an EMT, a CNA, something that's good quality healthcare experience hours, hands-on. Usually schools like it to be paid experience, not volunteer, not training, but like actually you working a medical job that's hands-on and you're getting compensated for. Um, so, and also if you're not working that, how soon can you start? Because that determines how soon you can have enough hours to apply. I think the average school requires about 1,000 hours. Some might let you apply with 750 with the understanding that you have 1,000 by the time you matriculate. Some require less, some require a lot more. So that again goes back to, which schools are you looking at? What are they looking at as far as minimum hours? What are they looking at as far as how many hours you need to be competitive, not just the bare minimum, and how soon can you get those hours? And also, will they accept the hours that you have? So, for instance, scribing, I know medical scribing is a very popular way to get hours, but not all schools accept that, and not all schools prefer it. Some really want you to have EMT hours, CNA hours, it just depends. So, again, that's when you really want to go to the school's website, see what they accept, maybe talk to graduate admissions, see how many they really want you to have to be competitive, what kind of hours they prefer, things like that, if you're still determining how you're going to get your hours. And if you've started your application process now, you probably already know that most of these jobs require certification, which takes 1 to 6 months to get. I think EMT takes about 6 months, CNA takes about 1 to 2 months, just depending on the program. And again, it takes time, money before you can even start getting your hours. So that's definitely something to consider. How soon can you start working a medical job? Or if you already are, how many hours do you have? And how soon can you get the amount of hours you need to be competitive? And I guess last but not least, this isn't a question, but it's never too late to start working on your application. So even if you kind of took stock of all the stuff you have, your GPA, your hours, and you see, okay, it's going to take me a year before I'm really competitive enough to apply. Well, during that year, you are obviously getting your hours and maybe you're retaking some classes to get your GPA up, but it's also not too soon to start working on your CASPA. Anyone who's completed their CASPA knows that it takes a very long time, especially that essay. You're going to write that essay, you're going to rewrite it, reread it, have people read it. It's going to take you months to really get a good, high quality essay. And a lot of admissions people will tell you that's probably one of the most important parts. So definitely never too soon to start filling out your CASPA, getting your transcripts in there, getting all your grades in there, all that stuff, and writing your essay for sure. So those are all the questions. The last kind of 2 pieces of advice that I gave her is, sorry, it's been a few days since the conversation. Right here. So I said that a good thing to do is to follow a lot of PA YouTube channels. So I gave her the 3 that I followed that really gave me a lot of advice. And also, even more than that, just kind of kept me motivated while I was applying to PA school. Because I know it's really difficult, and especially if you don't get in first, second, third time, it could be really discouraging. Because you're writing and you're doing all this work, talking about how much you want to be a PA and how excited you are. But then if it's still if you haven't been accepted, you're not in school yet, it's still ambiguous, and it's really a little disheartening to do all this work for something that may not even happen. So a good way to stay motivated and positive about becoming a PA is to follow PA YouTube channels. So the 3 that I told my friend to follow are, and again, this is in no particular order. This is not sponsored in any way. These are just people that really helped me. And also I want to say thank you to these people for helping me stay motivated, stay positive about the PA profession, about getting into PA school. I probably would not be in this program without some of these folks. So again, in no particular order, Adana the PA is awesome. She's like super positive, just really like fun to watch. She gives a lot of good information, but she's also she'll put you in a good mood. Basically any video that you watch of hers. Another one is Day with a PA. His channel's kind of new, but it was already established when I was applying, and he gives a lot of really great advice, a lot of good content about interviews, about how to write your essay. He's very kind of methodical, very logical, so I really like that. And then the 3rd channel is called PA Life, and this guy's been a practicing PA for I think like 10 years now. He's a little older than the other folks, but he gives kind of a different angle, one from more of an experienced person who's been in the field for a while, and he also does a lot of stuff besides just PA school. He talks about money management, he talks about his different experiences and just his view of medicine and things like that. So it's kind of a good way to pretend that you're in the shoes of someone who's already gotten into PA school, been done with PA school, and been graduated and been practicing, which I know helped me a lot. Training for medicine is fake it till you make it in a controlled environment. So this kind of helps you put yourself in the shoes of someone who's already somewhere that you want to be. And for me personally, that really helped motivate me to just work harder, do the things I knew I needed to do in order to get into PA school. So anyway, I really hope that was helpful to somebody. If anyone has any questions, please leave them below. I have 2 weeks now. I'll probably be making a few more videos, and I really hope that helped. See you in the next one.